Alright, greetings fellow exiles. Today me and Sarah are working on our long-term storage. So we're putting some red beans, some 15 bean soup, and some shell noodles into 5-gallon buckets. So I'll show you how we do it. Start out with, let me move you around here. We're going to take this big pile of beans and start opening them up and dumping them into the Mylar bag. So I'll move the camera around and show you how we're doing that. It's important, especially when since I'm using these square buckets, to shake it around and move everything around to make sure it gets packed into the corners well, because the Mylar bags are designed for round buckets. And the reason I use square buckets is because they fit underneath shelves and places like that more easily. Round buckets are cheaper, but since these organize better, I like them better, and I'm willing to spend a little bit extra money on them. So whenever I go to Walmart or the grocery store, I pick up a bag of beans, a box of noodles, stuff like that, and then I just throw them into the bottom of the bucket and slap a lid on it. Red beans. And that way, this can set for a while, and then as I start to fill the bucket up, or once the bucket is full, then that's when we're going through and open them. Now this time we went to Walmart, spent $75 or so on beans and noodles. That way we can get a little bit further ahead and make this video. So let me show you this. Alright, this is about full. We're not going to be able to squeeze much more in there. You want to come over here and give me a hand? Let me see if I can move the tripod out of the way. Alright. So this says it's hot at about 370-ish. I'm going to hold it, and Sarah is going to seal it with the straightening iron. There you go. And it doesn't have to be pretty. Hold on. It's easier to make it pretty with two people.
It's not sliding anymore.
Alright, get this in. But it doesn't have to be pretty, it just has to be sealed. And if it's not 100% sealed, it'll be okay. So then the next thing we do is open these oxygen absorbers. And these will absorb oxygen out of the air as soon as you open them. So what we're going to do is cut this open real quick. We're going to throw one in the hole that's left over in the bucket. Then we're going to take this and seal it back up. There's a hole there too. And it has a little indicator to show you that if it'll turn colors if it goes bad. Then we're going to put them back in the bigger bag and seal that shut too. And hopefully this time it actually stays sealed correctly. Unlike the last one I did. Alright. We're going to finish sealing this puppy up. Yeah, I'd go over the whole thing again just to make sure everything gets sealed.
That got hot.
Yep. And while she's finishing that up, I want to give you guys an important safety tip when you're doing this. Don't use your wife or girlfriend's straightening iron. Buy one for this. It won't damage the straightening iron, but she might damage you if she sees you doing it. We just filled a bucket full of 7 bean soup, and I forgot to do this for the red beans. So this is diatomaceous earth. It's ground up seashells turned into a really fine powder, and because they're so dry and so small, if there is any insects in here, and by the way, this might sound a little gross, but everything, whenever you buy flour, beans, rice, noodles, any dry good like that, they have weevil eggs in here. And the oxygen absorber will kill them if they hatch, but this is also another layer to keep the weevils from hatching or any other bugs from causing any issues. Because this powder, it looks like a powder to us, but if you're a little tiny bug on a microscopic scale, these things are razor sharp and will slice into their exoskeletons, and then it's dry, so it sucks the moisture out of them and kills them. And when you look at the package on like beans or anything like that, or a good chunk of the protein, wherever the protein is on here, right here, a good chunk of that protein value on dry goods is actually bug eggs and bug parts. So for a 5-gallon bucket, it's 2/3 of a cup. Sarah's making gross faces over here when I said that. Let me just get about 2/3 of a cup or so. And this is food grade. You can also use this to kill insects in your garden, but when it rains, it'll stop working. So we'll just pour this in here. And reach in there and mix it up real well. You can mix it up beforehand, especially if you're buying the stuff in bulk. That's the easiest way to do it. And because this is the 7-bean soup, it comes with the seasoning packets, so we're going to throw those on top. And because we didn't pay attention, we cut through all the recipes, so we're going to throw 2 bags, and that'll give us the directions of how much water and seasoning mix and how much beans to use to make the soup. So I'm going to hold this while Sarah seals it again.
Careful, it's hot.
Yeah, I noticed. But the trick is to seal it without sealing your fingers.
Or anybody else's.
Yep. And because the little indicator doodad started changing this one we just opened, I'm going to throw 2 packets in here just to be on the safe side.
Careful.
If you want to get super involved and super cool guy, you can CO2 or nitrogen fill the bags. I don't think I'll ever do that.
I think that's good.
And if you want for good measure, you can throw another O2 absorber on top of the bucket. I usually don't do that. You want to seal the O2 absorbers back up. As long as they don't get hot, they haven't really absorbed oxygen. They won't get hot in the bucket because they'll absorb all the oxygen before they have time to heat up. But in the little bag, they get hot. So those are good. And I'm going to put them in here. You can also put them into the oxygen absorbers into a Ziploc bag or mason jars or vacuum sealed bags. You just want to keep the oxygen away from them so they don't go bad. Alright, and as long as this bag doesn't shrink up and shrivel up, that means all the oxygen, or no oxygen got into it. It's sealed up right. And like I just told Daniel, the reason we're doing this is because we have the money and can afford to do it now. Just like in the Bible, when Joseph, or Pharaoh had the dream, they couldn't interpret his dream. They went and got Joseph. Joseph came and he told the Pharaoh, like, well, we're gonna have your dream means that you're gonna have 7 years of 7 years of good time, and then 7 years of famine. So Joseph stored up food for the 7 years of famine. And then if you continue reading that story, it ends up where the people of Egypt don't have any food. So first thing they do is they give all their money to Joseph and to Pharaoh in order to buy food. Then the next year they don't have any money, so they sell all their animals. Then the next year they don't have any money, so they sell their land, which means now they have to work on their land every year to grow crops, and Pharaoh gets to keep a certain percentage of all the crops they grow. Then the next year they still don't have any money, so they sell their own children into slavery. So that way, for the rest of time, their children have to work in order to pay the Pharaoh some of their wages. Then the next year they still don't have any money and sell themselves into slavery. We don't want to be in the position where we don't have enough food to feed ourselves or to help other people or feed Thomas and Daniel. So we're storing up now in the good time. That way we don't have to worry about the problems in the future. So thank you for joining me on the journey to use God's gifts to grow His kingdom, to prepare to live a better. Let me start that over again. Thank you for joining me on the journey to use God's gifts to grow His kingdom, to prepare for the future and live a better life.